They were just about to turn off the oxygen. The doctor had signed the paper. The nurse was standing by the machine. The bed was quiet. And the man lying there, he hadn't moved in hours. He had no ID. No family. No one had come for him. He was just another poor man, alone, unknown, dying slowly in a hospital where nobody had time to wait. The nurse touched the switch. Then suddenly, the doors opened. A man in a black car suit stepped in. Tall. Calm. Serious. He didn't look like someone from that hospital. He pointed at the bed and said, "Don't touch him." Everyone turned. He walked closer. Looked at the man on the bed for a long time. Then he whispered, "I know this man. He saved my life. Now it's my turn. Sit back and watch how the story unfolds." There was a man named Idris. He was 33. A welder. Not the type with a shop or a big name sign. Just a street welder with a second-hand welding machine and a bent metal toolbox. He lived in a boredom. Not in the rich part. He stayed in a one-room apartment behind an old mechanic shop in Sango. The ceiling was stained. The window didn't close properly. When it rained, he used a bucket to catch the water dripping from the corner of the roof. But he never complained. He had no parents. They died when he was still young. No wife. No children. His only sibling, a younger sister, got married and moved far away. Idris lived alone. He woke up early, sometimes before 5 a.m. Boiled water on a small kerosene stove. Bathed with a broken plastic bowl. Then stepped into his dusty jeans, old boots, and his brown work shirt. He carried his tools in one hand and hope in the other. The day was never promised. Some days, he got lucky, a gate to weld, a chair to fix, a roadside gen to patch. Other days, nothing. But even on the dry days, Idris still smiled. People in the area called him Quiet Helper. If your tire went flat, he helped push. If a child fell on the street, he picked them up. If an old woman needed to carry onions from the market, he didn't charge, he carried it for her. He had nothing. But he gave like someone who had more than enough. That was the kind of man Idris was. People noticed Idris, but not for loud things. He wasn't the man shouting at the roadside. He wasn't chasing fame or begging for handouts. But if you watched him closely, you'd see him doing the kind of things most people don't bother with anymore. Like helping the blind man across the road even when cars were rushing. Like holding a crying child's hand until their mother returned. Like giving the last 200 Nigerian nairas in his pocket to someone hungrier than him, even if it meant sleeping without food that night. One time, a boy shoe tore while walking to school. Idris took the boy into his corner and sewed the sole back together with iron wire. Didn't charge him a kobo. Just smiled and said, "Try not to kick stones anymore, and that was Idris. Even though his own life was hard, he still helped others carry their own load. He wasn't rich. He wasn't famous. But if kindness had a face on that street, it was Idris. People often said, "That man is too calm." Some even laughed at him, said he was wasting time. But Idris didn't mind. In his heart, he believed one thing. Even if the world forgets me, I won't forget how to be good. It was a rainy evening. Not the normal kind of rain that came and went. This one had been falling since afternoon. Heavy. Cold. Windy. Idris had just finished welding a gate at a house near Ring Road. He wrapped his tools in an old sack, tied it with a rope, and started walking home. His shirt was soaked. His boots were wet inside. But he didn't complain. He just kept walking. The street was quiet. Only a few cars were moving, slowly, carefully. Then he saw it. A silver SUV skidded on a bend, right in front of him. It hit a concrete pole with a loud bang. The bonnet crashed. Smoke started rising. People came out of nearby shops, but nobody moved closer. Some crossed to the other side. One man said, "Oh, If it explode, oh. Idris dropped his tools and ran. He didn't think twice. He ran to the driver's side and tried the door, locked. The glass was cracked. Inside, a man was slumped forward, blood running from his head. Idris picked up a big stone, broke the side window, reached in, and unlocked the door. The smoke was thick now. He grabbed the man under his arms and pulled him out. Laid him flat on the ground. People started gathering slowly. A woman shouted, "Someone call ambulance." Another said, "No big man, oh. See the kind car." But Idris didn't wait. He checked the man's breathing. Then stood up quietly, picked up his sack of tools, and walked away. He didn't say a word. He didn't ask for anything. He just disappeared into the rain. The next day, Idris went back to work like nothing happened. He didn't tell anyone what he did. Not his neighbor. Not the barber next door. Not even the woman who always gave him leftover beans. He just woke up, packed his tools, and left the house before sunrise, like every other day. The silver SUV, the bleeding man, the smoke, it was already behind him. To him, it was just something anyone should have done. That's how Idris saw the world. You help, and then you move on. His life didn't change. He still ate plain rice with salt. Still fetched water from the well. Still prayed every night under the buzzing fan with one blade broken. Sometimes he thought about the accident, just for a second. Then pushed it out of his mind. He didn't know the man. He never even saw his full face. And deep down, he didn't expect to ever see him again. Then something strange began to occur to Idris. It started with tiredness. Idris thought it was just stress. He'd been working long hours under the sun, breathing smoke and dust. So when his head started pounding and his body felt heavy, he just took paracetamol and kept going. But then came the cough. Deep, dry, painful. He thought maybe he inhaled too much welding smoke. He boiled bitter leaves. Drank hot ginger water. Tried to rest more at night. Nothing changed. One day, while fixing a broken gen outside a barber shop, he coughed again. This time, blood came out. He looked at the red stain in his hand and froze. But only for a second. Then he wiped it on his jeans and kept walking. That evening, he went to the pharmacy near his street. The woman there looked at him and said, "You need tests. Chest X-ray. Blood work. Maybe even scan." "How much?" Idris asked. She tapped her calculator. Nigerian Naira 35000 at least. Idris nodded slowly. Okay. But he knew he didn't have it. His whole savings was less than 3,000 Nigerian Nairas. So he went home. Boiled more herbs. Wrapped himself in 2 wrappers. And prayed. But inside, he knew this wasn't just fever. Something was wrong. And it was getting worse. It happened on a Thursday afternoon. The sun was hot. The street was noisy. Idris had just finished welding a gate near Okodu. He hadn't eaten all day. His legs felt weak, but he told himself he just needed water and rest. He packed his tools slowly and started walking home. People passed him. Cars moved. Everything looked normal until it didn't. Right in front of a food vendor store, Idris staggered. He tried to hold the wall beside him, but missed. Then his knees gave out. He dropped. Flat. On the dusty sidewalk. Somebody shouted. A woman screamed. People rushed toward him. A man checked his pulse. He's breathing, he said. But he's not moving. They poured water on his head. Someone brought a kiki. 2 boys lifted him inside. They took him straight to the general hospital nearby. At the hospital, the nurses placed him on a stretcher. The doctors checked his chest, his eyes, his pulse. The results came back fast. Severe infection, one doctor said. His lungs are damaged. It may be pneumonia. He needs better treatment, a private hospital. But there's no ID. No wallet. No phone. The nurses looked at each other. No one to call. No money. No family. So they placed him in the corner bed, put him on oxygen, and waited. No one came. Days passed. And one morning, the doctor signed a paper. Disconnect oxygen. No sponsor. Bed needed. That night, a nurse named Joy was on duty. She had seen many patients before. But something about this man, this quiet man with dry lips and no name, bothered her. He didn't complain. He didn't cry. Even with oxygen tubes in his nose, he looked calm, like someone who had accepted his fate. But something in Joy's chest wouldn't let her rest. She walked to his bed, adjusted his blanket, and whispered, "Who are you really? Where's your family?" No answer. He was too weak to talk. Joy stood there for a few more minutes, then quietly took out her phone. She snapped one photo. Just his face. Lying there. Silent. Fading. Then she sent it to her cousin, Ada, a small-time online writer who ran a blog on local stories. "Can you post this?" Joy asked. "Maybe someone will recognize him." Ada replied, "I'll do it now." That night, the photo went up online. The caption was short. "This man is dying. He saved everyone, but now, no one is here for him." They didn't expect anything. They just hoped maybe one person would see it. One person was enough. Far away, in a quiet office on Victoria Island in Lagos, a man named Connor Olode was working late. He was the CEO of a rising logistics company. Young, successful, and private. He lived alone. Worked a lot. Trusted few. It was just another long night. He sat back in his chair, scrolling through his phone absent-mindedly. Then he saw it. The photo. A man lying in a hospital bed. No name. No visitors. The headline. "He saved everyone, now no one is here for him." At first, Connor almost scrolled past. Then he stopped. Zoomed in. Looked closer. Something about the man's face. The jawline. The eyes. The calm, quiet expression. Suddenly, a memory hit him hard. That rainy night. The smoke. The crash. The strong arms pulling him from the wreck. The man never said a word. He just saved him and walked away. Connor stood up from his chair. His heart was beating fast. "It's him," he said aloud. "It's him." He didn't wait. He grabbed his phone and called his driver. "Start the car," he said. "We are going to Ibadan. Right now." By 2:18 a.m., Connor's car pulled into the hospital compound in Ibadan. No media. No noise. Just one man, coming back for someone who once saved him. He walked straight to the front desk. The night nurse looked up, surprised. "Good evening, sir. How may I help you?" Connor held up his phone. "This man. He's here, right?" The nurse glanced at the screen, then nodded slowly. "Yes. Room 12B." Connor didn't speak again. He just walked fast down the hallway. When he reached the room, the door was half open. He stepped in. And there he was. Idris. Lying still. Pale. Breathing softly through oxygen tubes. The floor bag beside him was almost empty. The nurse inside turned around. "Sir, you can't be in." Connor raised one hand, calm but firm. "Don't touch him." She froze. "Excuse me." Connor walked forward slowly. Stopped beside the bed. Looked at Idris for a long moment. Then said quietly, "I know this man. He saved my life. And now, I'm here to save his." Connor didn't waste time. He called in 2 doctors from a private hospital. Paid cash. No questions asked. Signed every paper. Arranged the ambulance himself. By morning, Idris had been moved to a clean, quiet room with walking machines and soft blankets. For the first time in days, the air smelled like hope. He didn't wake up that day. But the doctor said he'll be okay. He just needs time. Connor stayed close. He didn't talk much. He just sat, sometimes reading, sometimes praying, sometimes just watching Idris breathe. On the 3rd day, Idris finally opened his eyes. At first, everything was blurry. The light. The room. The man sitting beside him. He blinked slowly. Where am I? Connor smiled gently. You're safe now. Idris tried to sit up. Winced. Fell back. Relax, Connor said. Just rest. Idris looked confused. Do I know you? Connor leaned forward. You don't. But I know you. He paused. Then told him everything. It was a rainy evening. I had a car crash. People walked past. But you didn't. You pulled me out. Saved me. And disappeared. Idris frowned. His memory was weak. But slowly, he remembered the SUV. The smoke. The blood. Connor's voice dropped. That was me. And I've been waiting for a day like this to thank you properly. Idris turned his face slowly. His lips moved. I didn't do anything special, he said. You saved my life, Connor replied. Now I'm saving yours. Idris got better. Slowly. Day by day, he began to sit up. Then stand. Then walk again, one shaky step at a time. Connor never left him. When Idris was discharged, Connor handed him a small envelope. Inside was a letter of employment, full-time maintenance supervisor at one of his company's factories. Sir, Idris started, confused. But I didn't go to school. I don't have papers. Connor shook his head. What I need can't be found in a certificate. I need someone I can trust. You already passed that test. Idris said nothing. He was the type of man who spoke more with his eyes than his mouth. And right now, those eyes were full. Connor wasn't done. He paid for a 2-bedroom apartment for Idris. Bought him clothes. Even gave him a small used car, just so moving around would be easier. Then, without telling him at first, he registered Idris for a part-time technical training program. You'll still learn, Connor told him one evening. At your pace. No pressure. Idris didn't know how to say thank you. So he said it the way he knew best. He worked hard. Arrived early. Stayed late. Treated every job like it was gold. But the biggest change. He finally started his old dream. He began training young boys, kids with nothing, just like he once was. He showed them how to weld, how to fix, how to use their hands and keep their hearts. Years passed. Idris never became famous. He never built a mansion. He didn't need to. Because he built something else. Every Friday, he returned to the same hospital where he once lay dying. Not as a patient, but as a volunteer. He fixed broken fans, repaired old stretchers, tightened leaking taps. Sometimes he just sat beside sick people who had no visitors. When the nurses asked him why, he always said the same thing. I've been here before. One evening, as he packed his tools outside the ward, a little boy walked up to him and said, "Sir, are you a doctor?" Idris smiled. "No. I just fix what's broken." And that's what he did. He fixed things. He fixed lives. And one rainy day, when the world had forgotten him, one man remembered. Because kindness never goes to waste. It might take months or years, but it finds its way back, just like Idris. This story reminds us, kindness is quiet, but it never goes unnoticed. So, if this story touched you, leave a comment below. Tell us, what would you do if you were Idris? Don't forget to like this video. Subscribe for more real, emotional stories. And hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next story.